COVID, whatever, I could guarantee you those dudes partied a lot. Has Kevin Durant looked normal to you?
I mean, he didn't look. I mean, yesterday was the worst. Was the worst half I had seen him play, basically.
Yeah, cause he's tired. He's been having a a quadrillion a trois. I mean, a menage a quadrillion, and he is tired. He needs some time and he needs some help. I'm telling you, these boys have been partying, hooping, but partying, and look around in the NBA at all the losses, all the upsets last night. I believe Milwaukee. Here, I'll tell you exactly. Right, superstars right after the All-Star break aren't worth a damn, and right after New Year's aren't worth a damn. And it's because they partied really, really hard. So the Sixers punished uh, the Rockets. That came out like it should have. But the Wizards beat the Hornets, who've been, back and forth from being hot. You know what happened to us, right? The Bulls, they keep chugging along with that young energy. But the Pistons beat the Bucks, right?
Yep.
and Dallas beat the Nuggets. And guess what? Well, of course that happened, but you had a few things that happened in the last couple of days, a few upsets that have nothing to do with Steve Nash. And I'm really tired of people saying, "Hey, he's a bad coach because he doesn't play the kids." That's not the mission, guys.
Yep.
I
totally agree.
The mission is not to, like, the mission is to get to this, a trade deadline and get to this this cut down deadline and figure out what do we need to make sure Milwaukee got PJ Tucker last year, right? They weren't complete. They got PJ Tucker. Can we agree that PJ Tucker was a big part of that championship?
For sure. And let me go a step further, by the way.
Go ahead.
How many rookie for all Nets fans who are obsessive about the rookie stuff, because I was in the spaces yesterday and it was obviously people were just dunking on Nash the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And the one point I didn't make, which I wish I did make, was how many rookies played on the Bucks championship team last year? How many rookies played on the Warriors championship teams or the Suns the Spurs championship?
Right. I was watching Nets Kingdom, AJ and Saint and those guys, and that's Trey's show. When he wakes up and trains, he has to watch that show, after a Nets game, and I feel like they got it so wrong. Like, someone was like, "Look at the other winning teams. They're playing rookies. Grayson Allen, he's a rookie. Grayson Allen's not a rookie.
Yeah,
there's no rookies." Like, people were like making suggestions of guys on other teams that are rookies that have a big role on contending teams. They were like, the Lakers have one. Who? They mentioned Malik Monk as their version of Kessler Edwards. Malik Monk is a lottery pick, you doofuses.
Yeah, from years ago.
And it wasn't the guys from Nets Kingdom. It was people who were like buying super chats to share that thing, and it's like, y'all, like, I couldn't. First of all, let me go in on my Nets diatribe right quick. I mean, my Nash diatribe right quick. Could you imagine if one of these dying-wool, hardened, salt of the earth coaches was the Nets coach instead of Steve Nash? As a matter of fact, imagine if it was just like a rookie coach that just was a good X and O's guy, like a young Atkinson as an example, right?
Right.
Imagine one of them either sides of the spectrum that's not Steve Nash managing this Kyrie bullshit. Imagine another type of personality having to go in, day out, and stand in front of the media and answer nonsense questions and handle it the way Steve Nash has handled it. Not only have we, throughout a season where we should not be this good, we missed very hard on two important roles. We missed on Millsap. We missed on Javon Carter. There is nobody on the bench who could come and be the ball handler. That's not what Cam Thomas does. Cam Thomas is James Harden light. Very, very, very light. Very, very pale James Harden. Right? But he's not a point guard. There's no point guard on this team. James Harden can play point guard. He can distribute the ball from the point guard. But he's not very good at bringing the ball up. And guess what? If teams know all you got is Kyrie and KD, and Patty Mills has shot the way that he shot, that's the only reason why Patty Mills is not the three-point champion going far and away, like just killing it, winning it, is because he sucks at Barclays Center. His shooting on East Coast rims are terrible, and you could expect shit like that. He's used to waking up a little bit later. I mean, even though San Antonio's only 1 hour ahead, but they're usually playing at 8 o'clock. They're usually playing at 9 o'clock. Little ripples in your day in, day out throw you off. If you're used to playing West Coast teams, if you're used to being in LA and Sacramento and Golden State, you're not used to your body chemistry, your sleeping clock is, your circadian rhythm is not right. And you could see it because when we're on the West Coast, we slap teams. You know why? Because Patty can play. If Patty's not playing and Joe Harris is hurt, you guys are foolish to think Kessler Edwards or Cam Thomas was going to save you from what happened last night. That is nonsense. And calling out Steve Nash, when all things said and considered, your Lord and Savior Kyrie Irving, there is no other coach who could have dealt with that with the grace and understanding and gravitas, like just the respect. I'm Steve Nash. I had to work harder than every single person in order to even function in this league. But I also know how to talk to these gifted guys who are blessed, who don't understand the world around him. He knows how to use that kid gloves. And y'all should be thankful for that. He should win Coach of the Year for that alone. Come on, Sam. Like, did you see how James Harden showed up to camp?
I'm with you.
I'm
totally with you.
Yo, James Harden came into camp looking like a stand-up comedian that hasn't worked in 3 years. That's just getting back out on the road. Like, come on, man. And Steve Nash handled it. It's no problem. There's no beef in the locker room. He doesn't play by the script that's given to him upstairs. That was the thing that drove me crazy with Atkinson. Atkinson would go, Jared Dudley, Jared Allen, Karras. Oh, I don't know about that D-Lo. I'll give him a few minutes, but never more than 30. Never let him get too hot. Like, he followed the script given to him from upstairs. That's not what we've seen with this. Like, are y'all telling me that Javon Carter should be playing? That Paul Millsap should be playing? Those dudes deserve 0 minutes. And I'm so glad that I have a head coach that could go, okay, we're going to try. We're going to give people a chance. We're going to let them work themselves into shape. We're going to let them get a little bit better. But the fact remained, there was 0 floor spacing last night, Sam. Tell me why I'm wrong. Am I over exaggerating or?
I mean, we, in a lot of the arguments that have happened about Nash, I think the easiest way to shut down all the criticism is to basically say who is out there that could have the off-court gravitas that Nash has, and have the respect of three certified Hall of Famers who both have like egos and rightfully so have egos, and demand certain things out of their coaches, while at the same time being able to deal with the amount of COVID injuries and like off the court bonanzas that the Nets have had better than Nash. And there's no one, like, if you imagine you get like a hard ass in there who's a really good X's and O's guy who even is really well respected. You think Rick Carlisle would do well with Kyrie and Harden and KD?
Rick, he's shitting the bed in Indiana.
Rick Carlisle has now had massive issues with both Luka Doncic and now in Indiana, from a podcast I listened to, him and LeVert don't get along at all. So those are two more high profile guards who you can get along with. Like, there's no Popovich here. There's no Spoelstra here. Brad Stevens took himself out of coaching in Boston because he realized that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were basically tuning him out. Like Nash still has the ear of a bunch of mercurial superstars, while simultaneously doing a really good job on the court. And let's be honest, and I'm someone who, like, you called out some of the players like Millsap and Carter and some of the other guys. Those are guys who I thought bringing them in would do well. I've been wrong. They've been disasters. They've had injuries. This is a guy who last year the season started in December. Right now it's early January. So in one calendar year, he's almost coached 2 full seasons, or 1.5 seasons, 2 seasons though. And he's dealt with the Dinwiddie injury and the Harden trade and Kyrie not being able to play home games, and Kyrie partying with his sister without a mask, and KD having now over the last 2 years 4 different instances of being in COVID protocols.
What about the first week that his 2 superstars record a podcast where one of them says right before training camp, we don't need no damn coach. We the coaches. Yep. All of us are coaches. And the last time I saw Steve Nash, I gave him 27. So never forget that. Like, what? Who could have coached this team? Who do you want to coach this team? Tom Thibodeau?
Right, exactly. He's the ideal guy for the squad, and that's why I think I think me and you are in agreement, and I think fans who want him gone or even really criticizing him are ridiculous. But I do think if we want to shift some blame to someone who I'm usually less critical of and you've been more critical of, and now I think you've been proven to be right, is Sean Marks, in the sense that if we go back to the game that I was prematurely playing, in terms of like who you actually trust in a playoff series, we basically have 7 guys that you know for a fact can play in a playoff series in the big 3: Harris, Mills, LaMarcus, Claxton. And then after that, I know that there's no one who's leading the train of Bruce Brown should not be on this team more than I am at this point. I think Bembry, you actually can play in the playoffs in a certain role. The issue is he really kills your spacing because he just can't really shoot and doesn't try to shoot.
No, what kills them is that they have both. They have to play both of them.
Yep.
Brown is not in there in a role. Brown is a play. Brown is not playing when it is so amazing. It just fucks up my head. I had to throw on Idiocracy again because that's kind of like how I felt reading the tweets from Nets fans killing Nash, because you're killing the guy who came to work. You're killing the guy whose job became harder to do. So, and now they want to create this what's the word? Forget it. It's this force field around Kyrie that no one is taking the real analysis that the reason why Steve Nash is playing Bembry and Bruce Brown together is because Kyrie Irving is not here.
Yep.
I just keep seeing these things, these tweets that said, Kyrie Irving is not here. Like, I just keep seeing these things, these tweets, 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 these oh, the Nets would only be fined $50,000
Oh, I
if
saw.